Alright. What's up, Gaming Compute? We're gonna continue some of these topics where we left off. Talking about Spotify for podcasters changes. And we're also gonna start talking about sales. I'm just not so sure which angle I want to take because I guess with sales, there are a lot of things to consider, like the niche and like the areas of expertise and kind of like what's going on. So it's kind of hard to generalize. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna generalize pretty much regarding like digital marketing, social media management, types of freelance work. But I might make 2 episodes, so I might do this first about Spotify for podcasters changes, and then I might go into just post back-to-back clips. That might be easier for me because I feel like I'm gonna start getting off topic like I always do if I don't do it that way. So for people new here, we've been just looking pretty generally at podcasting as it's kind of taking over the content creation space. I think initially things went from, well, how far back do you want to go, right? Home video or whatever, but like things went from just being able to post long form, short form, and somewhere during the pandemic, I think, people went out of the vlog material and into podcasting. And I think the appeal of it, as I'm hearing what people have to say, I feel like the appeal of podcasting for someone tuning into it is it's something you can do. You can multitask and learn and engage. It doesn't take all of your attention. You can drive and listen. You can do chores and listen. It kind of gets you through some of the stuff that you might be doing in some of your day-to-day. And other pods you might really want to sit and listen in more detail. It might depend if it's longer form, shorter form, like, something you might want to take notes on or something that you can kind of just have on in the background, just listening to ideas or concepts that are of interest to you. It's just a form of entertainment. And from what I've gathered, from listening to people talk about podcasts or what they like about them or different things they've noticed, I've heard it said multiple times that during the pandemic, the reason why podcast engagement kind of increased was because people like this conversational kind of feel where it's like, you might feel like you're on the phone with somebody, or you might feel like someone's just leaving you like a lengthy message about some topic that you actually haven't an interest in. I don't really think people listen to content that they're not interested in. Especially nowadays, you can kind of like choose, you just search what the topic is, or the content creator, or whatever. Whereas before, when people only had like TV or radio and something was kind of planned, unless you called in to some kind of show, it was pretty pre-planned, the date, the time, the schedule, and you had to be available, or once recording became available, you had to make sure you set it up to record when you're not available, or have someone else hit record for you and have it work out so that you can watch it when you're ready. I remember back in the day, when Power Rangers was new in the US. It's an old show out of Japan, but it was new to the US. We would me and my friends were like totally into it because we were into like martial arts, anything martial arts, and Power Rangers kind of fit that. It seemed kind of like, it wasn't really martial arts, but it was close to it. We felt, anyways, and so you know, because we went to a school that was a little far, and we got a ride from our mom, who would pick us up at school and then drive us back across town, across LA. I think it started at 3 p.m. or something like that, or 3:30 p.m., and we weren't going to be back in time. And so my mom would hit record on the VCR. I don't think there was a way to, like, we had like an old VCR, so I don't think there was a way to like pre-schedule, like, okay, record in 3 hours or whatever, or record at a certain time. I think she had to press record at a certain time on maybe like a blank 2 hour tape, and then while she left the house, it would be recording everything before, and then it would record Power Rangers, and then it would record everything after that up until we got home, and then you would kind of hit stop and like rewind to the spot that you actually wanted to see. And I do remember some occasions where that didn't work out. Like, our VCR would basically, like, once the tape kind of hit the max, to the end, it would basically rewind itself and keep recording, until you come back and press stop. So there were some times where we didn't get to watch the whole thing because it would record past the end of the tape and then rewind and then start from the beginning and then record over Power Rangers. So I remember there were some times like that, or there were some times where we couldn't really get the recording that we were trying to listen to. And nowadays, that's not really like a thing. Pretty much every, I don't know, maybe not every site, but a lot of sites archive things. Say, for example, if you're trying to watch the Olympics, I mean, you can find another recording. You can find it like screened, or replay or highlights or whatever at a later time. So, like, you don't have to be glued to the screen, like, watching stuff when it's live. I mean, some stuff, Super Bowl or whatever, you're probably going to want to watch it live just because you're going to know everyone's going to ruin it for you. By the time, World Cup, things like that, like, it's going to be ruined. If you wait too long, it's going to be hard to not get the score ruined or who won, or like people are going to tell you highlights of certain things. So if you don't want to know that, you're probably going to want to tune in live or close to time. And that's kind of where things kind of are with like recording and consuming content and things. It just kind of depends what it is. But I think with podcasting in general, people like it just because it's something they can tune into that they get some value out of. It's just what the value is, kind of depends. It depends on the type of podcast and everything. So, as we all know, Spotify for the longest time was just music. I've seen Spotify evolve. Spotify evolved from, just music to, there's the app, and they've got all kinds of stuff on there now. Podcasts, video podcasts, like you can watch Joe Rogan on there. Just full on lengthy 2 hour podcast episode videos that you can't even find. You can't find all his content on YouTube. He's on Spotify. Like there are shifts happening like that, where it's like he's one of the bigger names as far as Spotify is concerned. And there are a lot of people on there, and podcasting has changed because, it went from almost like a radio, like, I think it's almost always had like a video aspect of it as well. But I feel like video kind of evolved. These vlogs evolved into kind of like podcasts that were like video podcasts, and then kind of like there's still been the audio type that's just audio only. You can listen almost like a radio show feel. I don't really record too much video because it's just, in all honesty, it's too many extra steps that I just don't want to deal with. The uploading takes long. It doesn't take that long, in all honesty, but it's just an extra thing. It's like, if there's video, I'm likely going to want to edit it. I should edit audio, but I don't. But, I mean, this laptop I use is getting kind of old now, too. And so, you know, it doesn't always hold a charge as long as I'd like it to. Like, it holds a charge pretty long, but I'd like to see a longer charge held. It's not a gaming laptop. It doesn't have a lot of ports. It doesn't have a lot of, you know, capabilities as far as what I'm used to with computers. But I really don't use this one for too much. It's just what I use for my own, like, internet research or writing or, you know, uploading content and stuff like that. Like, I'm not really doing too much on it like I used to on my gaming laptops, where I would be on there just like doing a whole lot more. I still play games on this one, but it's not like my other ones. It can't handle like every single game. But yeah, podcasting has definitely evolved, and Spotify has definitely evolved into a multimedia platform. It's got video. It's got, let's see what all it has. Because I can't even keep up. Like, I use these apps, but I can't even fully keep up with like what's going on. So yeah, podcasts, music, audiobooks. I forgot about that. Audiobooks. It's got a lot going on. But overall, you can listen. You can listen on Spotify. And Spotify for Podcasters came out. I don't know if it bought out Anchor, or if Anchor was its own individual company and then Spotify for Podcasters bought it out, or if Anchor, I don't really know. Yeah, I don't really know. Or if Anchor was kind of its own. Yeah, I don't know if it was its own thing, or if Spotify made Anchor, or if Spotify bought out Anchor. But either way, Anchor is like no longer really a thing as far as I know. Now, every so often, I'm seeing I'm frustrated, guys. I'm frustrated with Spotify. I'm frustrated with Spotify for Podcasters. It has been a frustrating ride. My issue is that I've been so long-term on this platform, or with this platform, I'm scared to kind of shift out of it. I mean, it's free, which that's the appeal for me. But there's also these events. They have these events by Splash that Spotify for Podcasters is rolling out, about video, dude, I don't even know. I don't know how to find where the events are, but I mean, I haven't really searched, but I want to get into some of the differences that I'm noticing. Some of the differences I'm noticing since the last time I talked about the changes. we now have more changes to deal with. So no longer is Spotify for podcasters going to be easy to use on a cell phone. They have the options. I want to start a new podcast, and they have the options. I already have a podcast. So if I'm clicking, I already have a podcast. It gives you options. Where's your podcast hosted? Now I'm looking on the app. Now. This is not how the app looked before. Before I would just log in, username, password of whichever of my podcast profiles. I have like 4 of them technically, because they're 4 different niches. I post on here about more like digital content, topics, freelance, side hustle realm type topics. A little bit of professional development, but it's kind of more for the hobbyist, I would say. But I think people could take it to another level. For sure, people could take it to a different level. But I'm not really doing full, take it to a new level. So it gives you the options, where's your podcast hosted? You either click Spotify for Podcasters, Megaphone by Spotify, or somewhere else. If I click somewhere else, you get the options to email me a link or open in browser. It says, we know this isn't ideal, but you'll need to finish setting up your podcast on our website. We can email you a link. It's easiest to do the next step on a computer. Afterwards, just refresh the app and you'll be ready to go. So basically, you have to get a link, go on a laptop or desktop computer, set up your account to link to Spotify for Podcasters before you can come back on the Spotify for Podcasters app. If you have Megaphone by Spotify, now Megaphone is the one that's not free. It also says we know this isn't ideal, same exact steps. Or you can go to Spotify for Podcasters, which says the same thing. So, oh wait, no it doesn't, sorry. It says open Spotify for Podcasters in the web browser and log in like you normally do, then add your podcast to your Spotify account. Afterwards, just refresh the app and you'll be ready to go. So you can either open in browser or tap to refresh the app. If I click tap to refresh the app, nothing happens. You have to verify on the web. So instead I have to go to open web browser. I don't know how far I'm going to get on this. Because yesterday I tried it super quick. Now what it says is log in with the email and password of your Anchor account. So if I go to my Anchor account, the one that I've always used the most on my Anchor and my Spotify for Podcasters app on my phone, it says it's not able to log me in if you recently changed your login to Spotify. Continue with Spotify. And I have recently changed my logins to Spotify. As we remember, I had to do that before because it made me. And I eventually got to a point where I changed all of them. Eventually. And here we go again with the same thing. Welcome to Spotify for Podcasters. Which best describes you? 2 options. I want to start a new podcast. No, I do not want to do that. The next option, I already have a podcast. So if you click that, I I already have a podcast. This is just so exhausting. I got a different mic, but that's pretty much the only thing that has changed. I was not able to figure out my login for Spotify for podcasters. I recorded what I thought was a step-by-step process of how to log back into the app, because I was using it at least like maybe a couple weeks ago on one account, and I can't log into my test account. I can't log into any of the other accounts, including this one, on the app. As far as the RSS feed, we're supposed to be able to enter that. I can't enter the RSS feed that I have for my own podcasts. The links don't work. I don't know if I can see what the error message said. It says, let me see. Basically, I wasted a lot of time trying to record. It says something has gone wrong. Please try again. And the other error message it says is that URL doesn't look right. Make sure you typed it correctly. I mean, this is the URL directly from the RSS feed link from my actual podcast. So, the username passwords don't work. They work on Spotify, the app Spotify, but not on the Spotify for Podcasters app. So something's up with the app on my end. On the phone, I have an iPhone. I haven't tried it. I have a spare Android. I haven't tried it on that phone. Maybe that might make a difference. But I don't know how much time I really want to put into that. I already put a lot of time yesterday and a little bit today. So what I did do is I went through and I looked at the I looked at Spotify for Podcasters YouTube channel. They have a little bit of content on there that's pretty new. Now, the longer one that I've wanted to watch that I haven't finished watching is the newer one from 2 days ago. They had a live stream kind of master class on leveraging video on Spotify for Podcasters Masterclass. So I wasn't able to tune into that. I kept seeing the flyer for it, and then next thing I knew it was gone. Like I remember I opened it on a new tab on my laptop, and it, when I went to click in it, I think yesterday, I was trying to check it out, and it said something about the link being expired, or the event's over, or something. Yeah, it says this event has passed, thank you. Then it says contact the organizer, and it has Splash, their copyright information under their logo. So I guess they did live stream it, and then they posted it on the YouTube channel. So if you go to videos that are a little bit older, I mean, they have this 3-day-old video, but they also have a couple videos from 2 weeks ago. They're basically, one's an ad, the other one is how to set up and manage comments and likes on Spotify for podcasters. Now, the ad that shows, the all-new Spotify for Podcasters app, the ad itself is a pretty cool ad. To me, I find it a little bit, just personally, I'm not trying to knock their ad, but I'm just saying personally, for me, it's a little bit, not anxiety provoking, but it is like, I don't know, I guess the actor in this is just, it looks like they're just constantly on their phone, kind of like checking analytics and engagement, and they're getting constant comments and messages. There's like a scene at the end where they're like, it looks like they're with a friend having like coffee or lunch or something, and the phone is just like next to them open, and they're just seeing the numbers like increase. And that part to me is like, okay, it's a little bit too far. Like when you're out, you know, you don't really need to be like tracking your analytics necessarily. Um, but that, I don't think it was supposed to be that deep. I don't think it's really saying, oh, people are gonna get like too too like addicted to the app and too concerned with it, and you know, start tracking too much stuff. Um, but it does look like the new Spotify for podcasting app at this time, I could be wrong, but at this time it seems like it only has features for comments and tracking analytics and engagement on the episodes. You cannot record, you cannot upload, you cannot edit. You can look at your episodes, I believe. It seems like it shows the episodes, it shows the engagement with the episodes and the comments, and then maybe like your listenership kind of like increasing, or like the downloads or whatever. Maybe in real time. I don't know if it's in real time. That would be nice, because I think before it was like two day lag ish. Um, Sometimes. I'm not sure about how many days of the lag. I think it was about two. Um, but let me see. I like the song. I like the song that they used. Um, I'm not gonna. I'm playing it on my. Stop. Okay. I have it on my phone. I wanted to just look at the comments, because the comments are what helped me realize that, okay, I'm not missing anything. Well, I'm missing how to figure out how to log in, but other than that, I'm not missing anything with the new app. It doesn't look like it does anything that I want it to do. Um, so there's a comment that says, why we can't record on app anymore. There's one that says, can't record the app anymore. Can't record on the app anymore. Another comment, is the new update finished? I'm missing a lot of feature after the update. Bruh, I can't even record off the app anymore. There's one reply. I thought I was tripping. That was the reply to that one. So, yeah, I don't know how useful this app is for podcasting. If you're only able to track engagement, it's more like a social media analytics tracking app. It's no longer an app that you can use for podcasting. I put an interesting comment, just kind of like a hint, joke. And programmers out there, get on it and make an app that people can just record in, and that, you know, works with Spotify, and that'll resolve the problem, because there are apparently a lot of us out there that want that app, you know, to be able to record. I mean, you can still record on your phone, but just that feature of being able to easily upload, you know, in real time, or once you've finished the recording, you know, and once it's loaded, you can upload it. You can upload your episodes. And so that is an easy feature to work with versus not having that. If you don't have that, you're kind of just like forced to take the extra steps of recording on your phone, you know, somehow getting it off your phone, whatever steps that takes to, you know, I've been emailing to myself and then, you know, downloading it on my computer from my email and then uploading it to the podcast from my computer. Or if I'm home, I can record directly into the computer. But I don't really like recording from home a lot. I like recording outside the house, and so that's one thing I did have to adjust for sure. It's just if I'm gonna record, I know that I'm gonna need to take some extra time to upload, because that's the one thing that I know I will not be so easy to do. Why can't we record in app? Why can't we change the cover for each separate podcast? Another comment, record options, remove and upload option also won't work well, worst update. Okay, I was looking for rant. I think this is rant. I started using the Spotify for Podcasters app for a course, especially for people who are visually impaired. It was the most accessible tool I had ever seen. Everyone who took the course was using it and was very excited about that. Some of them built up their own podcast with the most brilliant ideas. But now, since the new update, okay, making sure we're still recording. But now, since the new update, they are stuck. Me and so many others don't understand why you guys did this. We are also left with the most important question of all. Will there be an ability in the future that makes it possible with the Riverside integration to record and edit audio in the Spotify for Podcasters app again? Kind regards. And the Riverside integration, that's a whole other situation. I talked about it before. I wasn't a fan. It takes too long. That's just plain and simple. It takes too long. They're uploading and downloading and streaming and all this. It takes too long. It looks nice. The interface is great. It's a beautiful software. It's sleek. It has a lot of functionality and capability, even in the free version. But also, if you want all the features and all the space and everything, it is not free. So storage-wise and otherwise, you have to come up with options outside of that. It's not something that is fully free and fully useful. You are limited unless you pay. So unless you subscribe to it with the fee, you don't get full functionality of that, and it's slow. In my opinion, it's too slow to use it. I don't know if I could say don't use it, but I feel like you're fine using things like CapCut, Audacity, just those are like basic ones, or just your built-in, software. Windows Movie Maker, you could probably make it work just audio only. But I don't know. I don't think I can say that I like Riverside. I mean, not as a replacement for Anchor or for that, change that Anchor went into with Spotify for podcasters and how it was for so long. Being able to record into the app, that's a big feature that a lot of us obviously are not happy is missing. And all these messages are about 3 days ago or so, 2 days ago, 1 day ago. Why we can't record on an app anymore? Worst update. A lot of the feature I use is gone, shaking my head. New update not working in Vivo 1820. I am poor villager. Guys, the new update is so S-word. Can anyone tell me how to add an artwork to my new episode? I don't see any options to edit the default artwork. The only made this app to interact with the fans. That's not fair. We can't even edit our own work. I'm highly upset. No more recording straight from the app, huh? This app is crooked. Recording on the app was the best. Y'all should really bring the old features back. They mentioned background music, sound, interlude, mobile editing, music and talk, audio and voice note mobile section, edit cover art, keep comments. All those are the features they took out, guys. Think about it. It's a podcasting app. You can't do any of that. You can't edit the cover art. You can't put music and talk. You can't put interlude or background music or sound or I don't know. I'm upset too. I was expecting honestly to just problem solve this app. I was expecting to problem solve. Just the login part of it and just start using it and review the features. But now, I don't even honestly care if I get in the app because I can't use it the way I want to anyways. Like, even if I got in there, I don't think I'd want to use it for reviewing comments or, looking at my analytics. I get it, but it's like, at least they should at least have the ability to record, edit, and upload, because it's podcasting. I mean, like, there's nothing about the app that helps you to podcast. It helps you to manage your podcast, but it's like, it's also not. I don't know. If you're, shall I make my own suggestions? As someone who has been using this app since 2020, multiple times a week, sometimes multiple times a day. I don't know about this rollout. I don't think it's helping the creators to create the way that they want to create. It would almost be like if somebody's like, I made a YouTube app. YouTube's updating their app. It's called YouTube Studio, and you can check your comments and look at your analytics. It's like, but you can't record video, and you can't post or edit video or do anything with the studio. So what is the point of an app that doesn't do what it needs to do? I come from a research background, and it's like, a lot of times there's this question of, does the experiment set out to test what it is that we're actually talking about in testing? Is it actually testing that, or is it actually testing some other variable? If you're trying to test, how many times your security light goes off at night, and you're using a new security light, and you're trying to review it or something, and you put a motion sensor security light out in your driveway, and you're trying to test how many people walk by, but maybe there's no camera on it. All you can tell is when the light comes on, that means that somebody walked within a close enough distance. But is it testing only people, or bicycles, or cars, or cats, or dogs, or raccoons, and possums? I mean, what is it detecting? It might be detecting animals too. It's like, and if you say, okay, the light went on 20 times, that means 20 people walked by between 2 a.m. and noon or whatever. It's like, no, that might not actually be what happened. Like, maybe that many people didn't walk by, and maybe you're actually just maybe that's not what happened. Maybe that's not what actually occurred. So maybe that's not really what's going on. we're not really recording or testing what we're supposed to be testing. Like, I don't know, this is really like full, but you know, if the app isn't really providing the features that the podcasters would, then what's the point? Like, I don't think we need more social engagement. You know, I don't think people are complaining like, oh man, if only I had an app where I can check my comments more often. If only I had an app where I can look at my analytics scrolling. You can't do anything. I don't know either. The analytics on Spotify for podcasters is, in my opinion, kind of weak. It tells you what state, gender, country, age range, kind of where they're coming from, but it doesn't give you a lot of details as to like where these different listeners are coming from. It doesn't really give you that information. So I don't really know. You know, I'm not trying to be negative, but if some programmers out there need a project, here's one right in front of your eyes. You know, an app that a platform decided to release where the content creators want the old app back, or they want the old features available, or they want some form of integration where they can use a mobile app to record and do a lot of other editing things and not be forced to use the desktop. At least basic features. I mean, even if you can't edit from your phone, if you had to wait and get back to your desktop to edit, okay, but it's like you can't even record, you can't even upload. Even if you recorded on another app, saved it on your phone in your files, and then uploaded to the app, like there's no way you can even upload a recording from outside the app. And so it's not really a podcasting app at this point. It's a tracking app. It's social media and analytic tracking. It's social engagement and tracking. It's no longer a podcasting app. I think a lot of us want a podcasting app. Spotify is I mean, I listen to a lot of podcasts on Spotify. I enjoy it. I mean, it did go up in price as far as, you know, the subscriptions, but what didn't? It didn't go up like drastically, but I don't think I pay for the subscription anymore. Because I'm like, well, I can just listen to music or just listen to it on YouTube. And I have a VPN. Kind of blocks out a lot of the ads. I don't know if it really works anymore. But yeah, I'm a tad curious to figure out where things are gonna go. You know, you can still, you know, as long as you have a computer, you can still get your work done. It's just, you know, I know for me it's a little thing to do it while I have to be home. Like, I don't carry my laptop all over the city with me. Like, if I'm going to the gym or going to visit friends or whatever, I don't carry it with me. And sometimes I like podcasting while I'm driving. Obviously, you guys know that, because I want to sit around with traffic, because that's how LA is. And it's like, why not record a little bit? I'm testing out these new mini mics. It might be a mistake. It's kind of it's like a little upgraded version of the old model I had that broke. How my old ones break? I think my old one just stopped charging. This one has two, and it has it comes with two mics. Each one has its own clip. The mics feel a little bigger than my old one, and a little yeah, a little bit bigger, but slightly more, like slightly better quality as far as like the plastic parts fitting together and stuff. Slightly less cheap. Um, it might still break. I won't be surprised. They're super cheap, but I tested out it's wireless, but it has like a Bluetooth piece that plugs in either to jack, like the classic like mic or headset headphone jack, or Type C, or Lightning cable, and it charges by Type C. The mic's charged by Type C. It has a split USB charger, so you can plug it into like a USB block. If you have like a surge protector that has the outlets or whatever, and you can plug it into there and charge both mics at the same time. I don't know if the Bluetooth piece needs to charge. It might. I don't know. I didn't read the instructions. But I'm gonna try it out for like 30 days, maybe 20 days, see if it works or not. If it doesn't work, I'm just gonna return them. At the moment, I don't think these mics are very strong. I don't know exactly what they're picking up. So I'm about to find out. But I don't know, guys. I've been recording for a bit about the changes that Spotify and Anchor and all that have been making. And podcasting has changed significantly in the last 4 years. Changes that happen to apps and things, if you don't adapt, you don't survive. You can't just keep on trying to do the same thing. So you do have to like win with it a bit, but it's it's frustrating, but that's the wonders of tech, like things change, and which is great, but I don't know. In my personal opinion, and people can refute me on this, I don't really mind. In my personal opinion, Spotify for podcasters, for me, has gotten harder and harder to use. Harder to monetize. Different capabilities and features being decreased that were actually useful in the first place, and now they're not available anymore. That kind of stuff happening is just not really the direction that I would prefer to go in, but I also, I don't know, what are the other options? Make another podcast elsewhere? I mean, the cool thing about Spotify for podcasters is that they also post on these other platforms. But the difficulty with those other platforms is, can you just log into your account? If you have, say, multiple podcasts, can you just log into your account and start posting? Just start posting on a different platform. Like, you could technically post on Apple Podcasts. You could post on Apple Podcasts. I mean, that is an option. But I don't know, like, because I'm thinking, okay, if you're using like an iPhone, you can only really log in like one account at a time, right? And I don't think your podcast is linked necessarily to your phone Apple ID. You have to have like a different ID, I think. I don't know. Like I'd have to see if those are options, but I know that they post on your behalf. They make you account. Like you have a podcast account, but can you log into your podcast account? Um, that's something I'm not really sure about how it works. So, like, you can't really manipulate it. And if you have more than one, I don't think you can log into all of it. Maybe you can do it on a desktop. I really don't know. I've tried it a little bit, and it just I haven't been able to easily figure it out. Um, but there might be a way to log into other platforms and just upload to the other platforms. But I'm really not 100% sure. I really don't know. I'm wondering what other people are doing. I've talked about kind of what the basic options look like. There might be some kind of open source software out there that is an app. I mean, the thing is, if you can't upload to Spotify, like, can you upload to Spotify? Not Spotify for podcasters, but can you upload to Spotify itself? You know what I mean? Like, you probably couldn't record in there, but you could probably record on your phone and then upload an episode to your Spotify account. Can you do that? I don't think I see that option. When I'm in Spotify, I don't think I see the option to upload. And I've never really done it, but I mean, you can share your account. I don't know if you can actually upload. I don't know. Those are just ideas that come to my mind. None of that is helpful, I don't think. It might be an end of an era. I'm not 100% sure. I mean, they could change these apps back if they want to. I mean, they might see the complaints and be like, these people are not happy. But also they know right now they're the best alternative because it's free. Megaphone costs a lot of money, and there aren't a lot of other platforms that are so smooth and integrated with popularity and also having that audience that also the traffic is generated more directly to you because the platforms are popular. You know, Apple Podcasts is already popular, or Spotify is already popular. You don't have to like go out of your way to get. Well, you can still get engagement elsewhere or try to look for it or get it, but yeah, they're recognized platforms. People are gonna search for podcasts on there. Same with YouTube. It's a search engine. You know, if people are looking for podcasts, it might show up if you have one on YouTube, and that is another option. Moving over to YouTube. Now, I don't think Spotify for podcasters actually posts on YouTube, and that is something that I find might be an interesting project for people who aren't on YouTube to see what it would be like to kind of get on YouTube and see if that changes anything analytics-wise. But for now, the posting and the slowdown to content creation for a lot of us, that's going to take some adjusting. I think it's going to take some adjusting, and I'm not too sure, like, really where to go from there. But I'm going to see what all I can post today. I've got to see how these mics work out, and then I'm going to go from there with my afternoon here. Had a nice restful morning of a mushroom, vitamin beverage, and pretty big breakfast burrito, and a lot of meditation, yoga, foam rolling, stretching, and things. I do need to get like a solid workout in, but until then, I'm just posting. So I don't know how much more I'll be able to post about this topic, but I try to post for you guys when there's some kind of update that's weird. I don't think I'm going to try to log in anymore. I'm not really into like giving up on ideas, but I mean, I really don't think it's going to be worth my time to get into this app because I'm not going to use it. I'm not going to use it. Not for what they've built it into. I'm honestly not going to use it. Like to me, that's not. It's not that valuable. I can check comments and things and analytics on my laptop. I actually prefer to check them on my laptop. Because that's kind of more what I'm in, like the mindset of like what I'm doing on there, like the purpose of why I went on there was specifically to like analyze things. I haven't gone back to Uber Suggest. I want to, but we'll see. Sometimes it takes me a little bit. When I was out of town some weekends and stuff, it took me a little bit, but this weekend I'm not out of town. The next few weekends are going to be pretty busy. And then the fourth weekend won't be as busy. So between this weekend and then the fourth weekend from now, I don't really have anything that I've really set up to talk about other than like the sales related stuff. I'm about to get into those topics shortly and post them for you guys. If you guys are old to these apps, what do you think? What are your opinions? Because I've seen the opinions on YouTube, on the Spotify for podcasters videos, their more recent videos, and they also don't have a lot of videos. To be honest, they don't really have a lot of videos. Well, they have a lot, but they're not like long form. And I don't know if they have podcasts. They have lives. They only have one live from 8 months ago. Spotify office hours, fan study Q&A. They've got a whole bunch of shorts as far as playlists. They've got a lot of multiple language. You know, they really don't have a lot of content. I'm pretty surprised by that. I thought they'd have a little more content than this. They actually don't have a lot of content. And of the content they have, a lot of it's pretty short form. Yeah, they really don't have a lot of content, actually. I don't know. I mean, I'd have some recommendations for them if they wanted to talk. Because I'm like, they need to be posting more. Just because they're not doing what a lot of us want them to do, that's not really the issue. They've got 31 videos. The majority of them are, well, not the majority, but about a third of them are shorts. So, I don't know. It's kind of interesting. There's also Riverside FM videos. That might be relevant for some people. I'm not sure what's up with Riverside, but that might be what they're trying to push if they've got that partnership. That does make sense on the financial end. I get that. If they're going to make people get Riverside, the Riverside app, and integrate it with the Spotify for Podcasters app, then the only way to record would be to use Riverside. I could see that as something that they're gravitating towards potentially. But again, if it's not free or if it's got limited space, you're going to be going in, if you have long form content, you're going to be going in and having to delete, what's saved on there pretty often. Unlike the Spotify for Podcasters app where all your episodes were just saved. I've got episodes from like years ago that are still saved. And luckily, unless I've deleted them, I think one or two got deleted. Or flagged. I've been flagged a few times, but yeah. Alright, well, let's see what happens. I've got some other stuff to try to get into and see see what we can see here. Times are changing, but we'll see. At the end of the day, you know, people don't want their money to change. They don't want to make less money. They don't want their productivity to slow. They don't want to have to learn new stuff. But if it's just a matter of like poking around over the weekend, that's different. If it's a matter of, you know, having to adjust your whole flow, that's going to step on a lot of people's toes. But um, yeah, you got to adapt. You got to adapt. You have to adapt. This is a field of adaptation, innovation, movement. But I don't know. It's frustrating at the same time. It's frustrating, honestly. So, all right, guys. I gotta get off of here. All right, thanks for listening.